Welcome to the Discard Pile. I'm your host, John Corbett. It is May 20-something,
First,
2015,
20,
21st.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever the fuck. My guest tonight, we're coast to coast again, back-to-back shows. On the East Coast, we got Philip Schrader. Welcome, Phil.
Yo.
And on the West Coast, we have Michael Van Bremen. Welcome, Mike.
howdy.
Now, Mike, how long have you been out there in Seattle?
Officially settled in September 1st, so it's 9 months plus.
Truman Capote once said that a person loses an IQ point for every year they live on the West Coast. So my question is, are you feeling a little dumber?
No, but since I was born out here, I must have had a whole lot of IQ points beforehand before I moved. So I think I'm okay.
I don't know. Your results are starting to slip, man. Every time I see a lot of second places out there in Seattle.
The Kenneth Puffs, too.
A lot of them are. Yeah, I know. I suck at life.
You got to do what I do. I rolled up to Seattle. I beat Ken. I took his belt, and then I took his mustache. So it's
But
just
you have
Ken.
way more hair than on your head, so
You can't be. Yeah, well, I know. It's all mustaches are a little creepy, but you can't have a bald head and a mustache. It's really creepy.
Yeah, I know. But what can you do? It's Canadian. They have different rules.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on Canadians right now. So last month we did just about all Trek topics because the real world was too depressing with Baltimore being on fire. Phil could probably see it from his backyard. And so this month is the opposite. I'm nerd depressed with all the horse shit, so I have all real world topics. I'm gonna try to stay away from Trek unless it somehow gets thrown into the mix because I'm liable to go on a rant. So in the real world out here in Texas, I'm not too far away from the shooting they had. I think it was in Garland, Texas. They had themselves this great idea to have a draw the prophet contest. I guess draw the prophet Muhammad, and then two knuckleheads from Phoenix or whatever showed up in a truck, got out of the truck, and then some cop put 2 bullets in their head. That guy must have been a good shot. So then everyone got all upset. They're all everyone got all all the terrorists are here. They're right on our doorstep. But isn't this what they wanted? Like this, they had this event, and they were just hoping. They were hoping something like this would happen, right? Right, Phil?
They had an idea that this shit would happen. I mean, just look at what happened in, what was it? Was it the Netherlands or no, France?
Denmark.
Was it Denmark?
Denmark for the cartoon, and then France. So
yeah,
in order.
You have so many incidents that have happened in the last 5 years that you have to have an idea that something bad's going to happen. So
yeah, but I'm saying they wanted it. They subconsciously or subconsciously, people who were organized were kind of like,
They kind of wanted it. I imagine they probably were hoping it would happen in a small sense because it would draw more attention to how bad the Muslim religion is. There are just some people out there. I'm not defending those the people who started the attack, though. I won't do that.
It's sort of like this whole idea of when you're a kid and you're poking your sibling over and over and over and over again. You're just going to needle them until they blow up, and then they get in trouble.
Yep.
Same idea. Same exact freaking idea.
Well, yeah, I think that's the problem too. People know their thing saying that it's trying to make this to a freedom issue, and I'm all about the freedom too, but I don't see it as a freedom. Yeah, no one's saying you can't draw a cartoon of something to make someone angry. It's not a matter of can. It's a matter of should. I mean, we have freedom of speech, but you can't. Yeah, this is the same as yelling fire in a crowded room, right? Isn't it like? Isn't it into that category?
You're asking, you're asking for people to, when you do that, you're asking for people to run over you to get to the exit. So it's somewhat similar.
Why do people feel the need to do this? Why organize? What's the they're trying to say their logic is that we're trying to exercise our freedom. Like it was a fuck you Islam event, right? That's what it was. It wasn't a draw the profit. It was
my interpretation.
I'm just curious why people feel the need, especially in Garland, Texas, where people think Oklahoma has things outlawing Sharia law. I mean, I just don't. Do we just got to make something to make ourselves scared of?
They need to reinforce their belief system that all Muslims are terrorists. So tempt it, and then somebody's going to come out of the woodwork and attack you.
And then my other Texas things going on in Texas is in Dallas. They're putting up signs called "Keep the Change" signs, and it's for I guess people giving money to panhandlers, and it's just it's another thing I don't understand. I guess it comes down to Christians too. Hope no one blows up my house. I'm criticizing Christians all of a sudden because they're so persecuted. But why? My question is, why do Christians have such hostility, and maybe white people in general, are so hostile towards panhandlers? Like it's such a big. Some guy comes up, hey, can I get $1? You just say, hey, no, beat it. Why do they feel why are they so hostile and angry towards it?
That seems really counterintuitive, considering these are the same people who are lobbying to cut off all taxes that go towards poor people because they feel that all of that stuff can be handled through private charities. And when you give money to a panhandler, you're basically contributing to a charity.
Well, they think
of homeless people.
Yeah.
A direct fulfillment. But I don't get my tax benefits for it. Wow. I don't see the big deal. If you don't want to give them money, don't give them money. You leave them alone. It's not a big deal. It's like an ad for McDonald's. Yeah, you see the ad. You might not like McDonald's, but you don't have to go in there and spend your money if you don't want to. It's called using your brain. Apparently, that's not a concept that's allowed in some parts of the country.
Well, this is Texas, so the average IQ is probably low enough that they need the government.
Hey, take it easy. This isn't a Texas issue. This is a Christian issue.
Oh, I know.
Or it's a white privilege issue.
It's just like a lot of other things with the Bible. People like to follow the parts that they like, not all the parts, because they don't like every single part of the Bible. So we're going to pick and choose the parts that we like. If we like that one, then okay, we'll follow that one. But if we don't like that one, we ignore the fact that it even exists. That's kind of how it works.
Or play around with it and just say, "Oh, that's not what it means."
It's not Christian to do that, except that it's written in your Bible. I don't care. That's not the proper way we do things.
That redneck voice is racist, Mike. That's.
I know. I used to live in Georgia too. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, but this is come down to a factor of why I can't ignore things they don't like. We have that problem. Like I said, I'm gonna try to stay away from Trek. It kind of like, how hard is it to ignore things that you don't like? They come up with all these crazy stories on top of it too, like, oh, they're aggressive. These panhandlers are pretty aggressive. Like, no one's coming up and saying, give me your money, give me $1, or start running your pockets. Sometimes you get a guy, hey, come on, man, give me $1, and they might, like, it's not causing them any harm, and they're not.
Over-aggressive panhandling becomes assault. So.
Yeah, it's a little mugging.
I mean,
give me your money. Yeah, it's some mugging.
I just don't see why they spent government funding on signage. It just really is weird to me. A waste of government money in a state that doesn't have much government money to begin with.
Well, they spend it all on the fence. The governor, RFR, and he's spending all the money keeping an eye. He's spending all the money keeping an eye on the federal government, the military doing exercises that they did 10 years ago, when it was okay. But now they're doing it again, and now we have to keep an eye on them because martial law, because there's a black president. But when it comes to the panhandlers, I don't think it's so much even a Christian thing as it's just like when these people see a panhandler, my psychology thinking is it reminds them how fragile their position in life is. Like most of this life, people, hard work has something to do with it, and there's a lot of, but most of it comes down to luck. It's who you were born to, who do you know. Most people get their jobs from people they know. And then if something bad happens, they could be on the street and they could be in that situation too. So I think it just reminds them that life is fragile, and just as easily they could be on the flip side and but people like to think they've earned everything in life, and I don't know. That's just my 2 cent opinion on that. All right, let's get the fuck out of Texas. We don't need any more Texas shit bullshit going on here. They want to put a new face on the $20 bill, and they want it to be a woman. Is that a good idea?
Anyone but Andrew Jackson's okay in my book. Unless you want to draw the Trail of Tears all across it.
He didn't even want to be on Money in the first place, but yeah, it's like, okay, we're going to put you on the Money anyway because
shut down the federal bank.
Well, he was popular in his time. He was the everyman's president.
Very popular.
Yeah, every president was an aristocrat up to Andrew Jackson, and after he won the election, they just ransacked the White House and partied and had like a college kegger at the White House back then when he was president. So he was very popular at his time. That's why he's on the money. Yeah, he killed a lot of brown people. So I mean, people seem to like that these days. So what? All right. So they're going to put a woman on the 20. I'm okay with it. What woman would you put, Mike?
I thought about this, and I honestly, out of the ones they were on their survey, I don't think there was a wrong answer on it. I don't really care which one, but there's at least someone is fine.
No, I'm not going to do the politically correct. Susan B. Anthony, she's on that. She already had her chance on the money, and everyone hated that Susan B. Anthony coin. And I can't really remember what Susan. What did she do? What did she do? I'm a history nerd.
On currency, we've had Susan B. Anthony on a $1 coin. We've had Sacagawea on another $1 coin. Obviously, these are coins that people aren't using or never really used at all. Put a 20 out there, yeah, people use 20s.
Yep.
That's what comes out of every
Susan B. Anthony
on the planet.
Was she like a suffrage woman, like with voting or something? What is
one of the major proponents of suffrage, I believe.
Harriet Tubman was the woman who founded the Underground Railroad to get slaves.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. Yeah, she won the poll. It was unofficial poll. They said I guess it's one of the White House, whatever amount of signatures you need to get something. This is a pretty big movement, and it'll probably go through because Andrew Jackson killed a lot of. He's one of them guys that when history looks back on it, it's not too kind. I was kind of rooting for Eleanor Roosevelt. She kind of earned it. She's she was the boss just as much as FDR was back in the day. She ran it. FDR was probably drunk by 4 o'clock.
He was the Hillary Clinton of her time, essentially. She ran the government while her husband, who was stricken with polio, was the face.
Yep. You can't go wrong with any of those selections, honestly.
Yeah, after Pearl Harbor, the first person to address the country was Eleanor. She addressed the country before even FDR did. That's 2 fun facts. You got the Andrew Jackson party at the White House and Eleanor Roosevelt post Pearl Harbor. This happens when you work nights and you get to read a lot and you're not very smart. You just remember things. So I was rooting for Eleanor.
So that's good.
I was rooting for Eleanor, but Harriet Tubman won. She's fine. You got to go with that. I want a black woman on the 20, just to piss white people off. I'm gonna love it. I just want. Oh, it's gonna be beautiful. It says a lot about this country. We get a black woman on a $20 bill. All right, let's get. I'll switch the topic a little bit. Let's get to the worst ban since me. Tom Brady catches 4 games for taking a cut hair out of a football. Phil, you're a sports guy like me. What the fuck, man? I'm all about punishing the Patriots, but punishing Tom Brady? Ugh.
I think this punishment was made to. He's basically similar to some of those other big punishments you've seen for more important things, but I think it's more to make a stand because it's a new issue, something that hasn't come up before. Also, it was probably done with the understanding that it would get pulled back to a 2-game suspension after an appeal. That's just where I'm thinking.
The Patriots aren't appealing it, but
Patriots aren't, but Tom Brady is appealing.
Yeah, but the Patriots penalty. That's what's bizarre about me. Patriots catch money, which is nothing. Patriots are a casino. They print money. Yeah. Robert Kraft walking around looking like a even fatter version of William Shatner.
The $1 million was nothing to them, but the first-round draft pick.
Yeah, the picks is what's going to hurt.
That'll be the only one that hurts them. But they don't care about first-round draft picks to begin with.
That's where I think they should have. I would have been okay with the money's irrelevant, and then I don't even see about punishing Tom Brady. I think they should have just banged up a good year's worth of draft for the third
Maybe,
year.
but maybe hit their salary cap.
Yeah, that as well too. Yeah, I mean it's not a college you can take away scholarships. Football. Besides, the draft picks is usually what I think because Patriots have a reputation. They're cheating scumbags. Belichick's a cheater, so we all know. We all know. So I think you need to send a message to the Patriots like, hey, assholes, just stop your shit. You think it was bullshit, Mike?
No, I expected it. I was expecting them to do it. I would have granted. I will fully admit, since I'm in Seattle, it would have been safer for us. They just punish him for the friggin' Super Bowl. But since that did not happen, then yeah, I was expecting 4 games. I figured that it would get appealed. But the fact that they went against someone who wasn't doing it who didn't do anything illegal, but just for the sake of the game, and for someone who's as well known as the Brady, the fact that they punish him at all is kind of more the whole point of don't fuck around with our game.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, we're gonna find you games, and which means you're gonna get less money.
I like.
That's the thing they can really do. They can't suspend. They can't do anything more than that.
I like how you call him the Brady. I like when a defender brushes up to them and they get 15 yards for roughing the Brady. You can't breathe on Tom Brady. And
Don't hurt the dream. Come on.
Yeah, well, I understand you can't hit his face because he's pretty, but you even touch his leg or he just that's it. 15 yards roughing the Brady. All right, I'm gonna go a complete opposite kind of topic than that. And I saw because I love the stats. Almost half the people that die in this country now are cremated. It's almost 50%. 50 years ago, that's a huge shift because 50 years ago it was only 40%. And I'm all about that. I always told everybody when I died, just put me on a barge full of Star Trek cards and somebody shoot an arrow. Someone shoot.
Send you to Valhalla.
Yeah. So shoot an arrow. Hopefully, my luck, somebody would start missing it, and it wouldn't be able to just float down like an asshole down the Gulf of Mexico. But I guess my question is, in 50 to 75 years, we're not going to be putting anybody in the ground, right? This is where 50 years from now, it'll just be, hey, you're dead. Put you back in desiccated remains, and then that's it. Put them on the shelf.
Economics are part of it. But
yeah,
also,
a lot of it. Freaking funerals are expensive.
Yeah, it is financially.
They are. They are way more expensive than people ever expect them to be. Why most of the time in our family we do cremation, not because we don't really have anything else to we don't want to bury them or anything like that. It's just too expensive to pay for it. That's why.
Come on, everyone's got that asshole uncle, and you're like, well, I'm not paying. Do you want to pay? Do you want to pay $2,000 or do you want to pay $4,000? Like, nah, he was an asshole. Throw him in the oven. I think that's a little bit having to, it is cheaper. It's half the price, and I'm sure it's got a lot to do with it now. People like, and people are there apart too. So what's the point of putting somebody in the ground if you're never going to go? It's it's kind of an archaic ritual. Going to someone's the hole in the ground. I just I'm also a godless pagan who doesn't care about things like that. But this will be.
A lot of times that if you're going to have an actual funeral, more often than not, it's either because of the religious aspect of it, where it's considered a sin to not be buried, where everything has to be done in a very specific way. Death is a very big part of religion, whether they do it or not, and by result, tradition is started up as a direct correlation to it, whether we're religious or not. We bury people because that's sort of what we are expected to do, whether we do it or not.
Even Catholics let off the gas a little bit on it. It's all about being, when Judgment Day comes, we're all going to pop up out of the ground like little zombies and be reunited with our souls or whatever. Even religious people had to give up that. Slowly and surely, we're giving up even the kookiest parts of most stuff. But I think about 50 years we're going to be, we don't have to deal with that no more. All right, let's get back to a lighter topic, not about dead people in the ground. My boy Letterman retired last night. Mike, give me your top 3 late night hosts of all time.
I want to clarify this. Are we talking about any shows on after 11 o'clock,
Talk
or
show. It's
just
got to be talk show host. Late night talk show host.
Talk show?
okay?
You know, it's got to be. What else you talk? What else would you like infomercials? I don't understand. What else?
No, I was just double checking.
We're
So
not talking
for
about
me, in no particular order, I would say.
no. Order.
Okay, you want
Order.
me to organize it? Okay, fine.
Yes, that's very important. Yeah.
Okay. Jon Stewart, Daily Show, Stephen Colbert, and Letterman, with Johnny Carson being fourth, only because I was too young to get most of the jokes at the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I never even considered putting Colbert and Jon Stewart in because they're kind of in a whole new genre. They're a news genre. They're not. I'm talking traditional late night. That's more comedy.
Traditional, then it would be Letterman. It would be Letterman, Carson, and then Leno. Mainly because those are the only three I've ever seen.
The only one I ever watched ever was Conan.
Mike, hold on a second. Let me get to Mike here. Mike, I've known you for a long time, and I used to respect you up until right now. You really think Jay Leno? You find Jay Leno funny? Only white people over 60. I want your top 3 late night host.
Okay, here's the thing. I only have watched, as a traditional talk show format, I've only seen 3. I never watched Conan.
And you think Leno is better than Letterman and Carson?
No, it was Letterman, then Carson, then Leno.
Okay, I heard you. Well, I don't listen very well. People know that about me.
That's fucked up if you're doing any other order besides that. So let's not go crazy here.
All right, Phil, give me your 3.
There's only one, and it's Conan, because I can't stand late night talk shows. If you're doing that strict definition.
You weren't a fan of Letterman?
I did not. I thought his top 10 lists were terrible, and most of I can't remember a single Letterman show I ever watched.
Really? So you're just strictly a Conan guy? All right. Well, my top 3 would be. I was always a Letterman guy. I had really bad parents, so I would stay up late watching Johnny Carson. I watched Johnny Carson and then Letterman. And Letterman used to say, and this is he'd be like, we'll be right back, kids, or something on a commercial break. And I'd be thinking in my head, as a kid, you're thinking, maybe he thinks kids are watching this show. I always thought maybe it was, it was a weird thing like that when you're 8 years old or whatever. So I'll put Letterman first, then Conan. I always liked the Conan. And then I'm old enough to remember Johnny, so I'll put Johnny third. And Leno can die in a ditch covered in gasoline because he was the least not funny person I think I've ever seen on television. I just don't get it. I guess you got to be only old white people.
You got to be 50 years.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's all I got. Phil, what's going? We got the Texas. We got you coming. I got Justin. He finally wants to play in the Void region. I don't know why. I don't want to play in the Void region.
I think he just wants to go as many places as he can.
Yeah, he's trying to cross off the region, stay ahead of Ken for some kind of achievement. You achievement fuckers out there.
I couldn't do less. So I just wanted to come and play in some tournament because I made Orlando the best one.
Yeah, so we got that coming up next week. We're gonna have ourselves a little mini CorbettCon West. So we got that on the Trek horizon. But what else?
What's going on with Gen Con? We've got like 6 people pre-registered right now for Continentals. Neil's not going.
Well, it's 2 months out, and I think people are.
We've got a bunch of people just not going. I know that you're not going, Mike, because you're going to Australia, which is completely
North American. You have the North American Organized Play, whatever, right here on the show. So I guess your question to him is, what's going on with Gen Con? Mike, what's going on with Gen Con?
There are actually, it's really weird because there's a lot of people who are staying in the room block, but not everyone's actually registered for tournaments. It's very bizarre.
Now,
I don't know how to explain that.
I want to go on the record. This isn't me bringing up this topic. Cause I told Phil when he was like, "Oh, we're talking about Gen Con." I'm like, "Oh, people are going to think it's me bashing."
No. I text John asked me if there were any Trek topics. This is the only one this is the big one I could think of.
Yeah, so there's like Daryl. I told him my boss would probably be going, and he was concerned. And I keep hearing about this. The Gen Con, the block is full, but I don't know. We don't know how many rooms are in the block. I mean,
Thankfully, if
12
else fails, I think Ben and I have a fallback because Neil was supposed to take care of a room but didn't. because he's not going.
Yeah, well, rule number one is always Neil is always wrong about everything. I guess what's your answer to him, Mike? Everything's going to be fine.
I think it'll end up being fine. I don't see a reason why it wouldn't. Unfortunately, yes, and barring something very strange happening, at least I can get a doctor's note from Soren, but I don't have the money to go to Gen Con this year for the second time in the last 16 years, which is really bizarre and annoying.
Well, you guys are going to Australia, which is a huge trip in and of itself, so that makes sense.
Exactly. Yep, and we're there for 2 weeks instead of just World, so
Nice.
It takes a lot of it's going to be a lot of fun, but I wish I could do both as usual. If I can travel more, I always want to.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of names on the Gen Con planning committee, or I like to call them the Gen Con's homeowners association. Weren't even going. So as I was getting that thrown in my face, I wanted to bring up the point, but I'm already on on the gallows. The only other problem with that, Mike, and this isn't really on you, but so I pretty much got banned for saying Gen Con was going to be a down year, and I said the schedule wasn't that good. So right after I was banned, the article goes up. Gen Con, a closer look at the schedule. So
that was actually planned ahead of time. Scary enough.
And then what did I post? I said that too. I'm like, someone's going to say that it was planned ahead of time. Another great coincidence. Another CC. So that was really.
What day were you banned again? Because I don't remember this stuff.
But it was like I was banned like 3 days or whatever, and then the third day it was a closer look at the schedule. So I'm like, you guys, you can't ban me and then go, oh, well, maybe asshole had a point. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
Okay, but, if you don't want my schedule, say so, because the schedule is designed with pretty much me in terms of the layout, what events were done, things like that. There's only one of the 1E1s was asked for specifically, and he's running it, so that's what happened. But everything else in terms of the format, what events are done when, stuff like that, if you're going to blame someone, blame me. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'll be more than happy to blame you. I saw that you guys finally put the team tournament back on Thursdays, which is good because that's always the best day to do it because when everyone's there. Sunday,
exactly.
Sunday, people are usually trying to break out and get done with it. But you guys are going back to what's the format going to be for Continentals? What are you guys going back to? Just 8 rounds in the top something?
Not exactly. We're doing. It kind of depends on how many people are there. But basically, for example, 2E, it's 6 rounds, and then either the top 4 or top 8. And it'll be just a simple 3-round Swiss tournament for it. Whether it's for 4 people, then it's just a round robin, or for 8 people, then it'll be whoever wins the 3 games will win it all, that sort of thing.
So day 2 is going to be a Swiss tournament?
It's Swiss. It is not match play.
Interesting.
I figure since I will fully admit that I was expecting this year to not have as many people, simply because I could have counted at least a few people off the top of my head just in this area alone who won't be able to be going. So I thought, okay, well, if we're going to try this, let's give it a chance to still have as many Trek games to be played, while not forcing everyone to have to play 8 or 9 rounds. Because let's face it, not everyone really wants to do that. So if I broke it up to have either 5 or 6 rounds, and then since we're going to have the inevitable people to drop anyway, if we give them a separate tournament for them to play in and get the really hardcore people who play for the top 4, top 8, who would be there anyway, give them a separate tournament that if they want to change their decks but still be in a Swiss format, so try to mitigate the time decks situations, things like that. I figure if I'm going to try it for any year, let's do it for this year, and then we can see what ends up happening as a result.
Yeah, when I looked at the schedule, I just noticed it'd be like if I were to go, there'd be a lot of downtime for me. I noticed like after the team tournament, Then there's nothing like Friday. There would be really anything for me to do because I'm not playing. I try. I don't mind. I've been playing more 1E than I care to admit this year, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it at Gen Con. And I got distracted. I'm sorry, Mike. I forgot what you said. It's just going to be 8 rounds of Swiss and what was it?
Would be 8 rounds of 1E, 9 rounds of 2E. If you make in the top 8 or top 4, depending on how many number of people will be there.
And it was
6 for.
It was.
Go ahead.
Was it 6 rounds and then top 4 or something like that?
Correct, or top 8, depending on how many number of people will be there.
Okay. I'm sorry. I took you because I was as I was checking the chat room. I'll be corrected. I was banned obviously for being an asshole. I don't know. People seem to hate me, but they seem to watch my show and then comment on it. So I'm a little confused. But I don't know, Mike. Let's go back to this COC. I'm trying to stay away from a rant. If that's true, you're being that. And I was kind of yelled at. We had an interesting occurrence in the errata meeting. Our new member, we somehow brought this topic up, and he was very vocal about it. It was surprising, and it was a lot of that. You're just an asshole. Even if I concede all the points, is this ban worthy, Mike? I'm interested in your opinion about this. Is that an acceptable thing to do now? You are banned for being an asshole. That's what I'm trying to tell people. I don't want to say persecuted because that's a harsh word. It's just nerd stuff. Are you allowed to be an asshole anymore?
This connotation too. That doesn't really work for you.
Yeah, I'm not a victim and I'm not a martyr, but I'm being. What's wrong with being an asshole? Why is that such a crime? Why is that a crime now, Mike?
Because we're in a world where you don't have to be an asshole to get your opinions across.
Yeah, but I'm not an asshole when I get my opinions across. I'm an asshole when I'm trying to be an asshole.
Look, but you do come across to a lot of people, whether they know you personally or not, that you can act like kind of an asshole. So when you put it in a context where people don't know you, yeah, that'll happen. And if people want to have this whole code of conduct and having someone says, well, you upset me and you made me hurt my feelings,
yeah,
and then I'm going to report this post, that can happen.
So, let's bottom line. This is 10% of the people are, this is I call it the community shield now. It's all community. It's the sword is the hashtag volunteer card, and then the shield is the community. So when we got to protect the community. That's 10% of the people actually, and then you have the assholes who were 10%, even though they're starting to leave. And then 80% of the people don't give a fuck. This is all. So the 10% tries to hold on to the rest of the people who just don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck, and and nothing to do with this. And then so now that this 10% of the community, we've known now they've driven people off. There's less asses in this call, and these are people who have traveled, and these are people who play the game, and they put their money. They were assholes, but the money where mouth is, and you have these other people, and these people are mostly are I don't want to. I'm trying not to. I want to call shut-ins. I don't want to call them antisocial. I don't want to call them, but these are
introverts.
Yeah, is that because someone smarter than me come up with a word for this? They're just like it's people who spend a lot more time on a computer than they do in real life talking to people. People who went like Phil, people not like Phil, people not like me who would just travel for a weekend just to hang out with people that they play a game with. So what's more damaging? Isn't this more damaging? What's going on right now?
I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, you can weigh both sides, but I'm in the 80% who don't really give a fuck. I would take things as such that as long as you're not attacking me or attacking other people, I don't care what you say.
If it's not obviously directed at me, I couldn't give.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but
I'm
does
Dutch. A lot of people say whatever the hell they want.
But my big question for you, John, because I haven't read the COC, is what happens if I bait you into pissing me off again and get you banned? How big will next ban?
No, that is the only rule. That's this long-winded 80-page COC is nonsense. The rule has always been the same. The rule is thou shalt not offend. It doesn't matter what I say. The same level of bullshit all the time. the level of people, how they are sensitive based on whatever they're doing in their life, how much they pay attention to whatever my dumbass is saying that week. And if that week they get upset, and that week they're having a bad week in their life, and then they get all pissed off, and they hit the report button, or whatever, then I'm catching bans for the same stuff.
I don't see how you can be offended when you're not called out explicitly, or if it's not heavily implied that you're calling one person out when you make a comment. Some people just go digging for that kind of.
No, Mike. I'm gonna call you something else personally. Now, when I criticized Gen Con, did you take that personally? Was I criticizing you when I said Gen Con's going to suck this year? And that's what I said. That's an asshole statement, which it might even be. How does that affect you, Mike? Is that a comment towards any volunteers regarding Gen Con?
Just because I can only speak up for myself because I have this ring and
Just
I said I can speak for myself. I wasn't offended.
So
you've never actually offended me that I can think of off the top of my head. I know you've tried, but you just haven't been able to get to that upper level of annoyance to warrant it.
That's because you got your own shit going on in life. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? If you have your own thing going on, you're not on a computer, or you're not. It's always other people's shit, and they try to put it on me. Like my shit affects them. You
offended me in one area, John.
Sure. What's that, Phil?
You offended me when you got me to buy that silver tin case of 1E, and you're not going to be at Gen Con to rip those up.
This year, yes, you're right. We're going to do the 1E. You can bring it with you to Texas. We might be able to get it if we get a fourth player. We got a lot of shit. We'll definitely get that 1E. I always wanted to do a 1E tin Iron Man shit show.
Should I save it for next year, or do I need to just bring it to Gen Con and get another one?
Well, I don't know. Where's World's going to be in 2016?
I do not know the answer to that question.
Fiji.
I am assuming that it's going to be Europe, but I do not have an answer to that question because no one has told me.
It's going to be.
Why can't it be there?
It's going to be in fucking Hitler's bathhouse in fucking Vienna, Austria, or some horse shit. No one fucking wants to go. But is that what happens, Mike? What happens? What's the long-term damage that could be done by not having worlds in the U.S. once every 3 years?
What could be the damage?
Yeah, isn't that eventually going to do damage to the game here? Because it's already going down. Germany's already going down. They're going down. So why are we trying to? The boat's leaking water there. We had Orlando's doing well. We have places where we could move it here if we wanted to, but yet we're having it in Australia. We're having it in bumblefuck Germany, and then Gen Con's failing because it's not Worlds. Why are we making these decisions?
Why are we making these decisions? Okay. I'm trying to think of a way of how to respond to this question. I don't know.
You don't have to answer directly. John's being an asshole.
I know, but I like answering questions. It's the nerd brain in my head that says, answer this question. But I don't really answer. Shut up. We're going to answer it anyway. Do I think this could ever be changed? Sure, it's entirely possible. Whether it's going to change anytime soon, I don't expect that to happen, but I wouldn't be against it if it's in the United States more, simply because it makes it a lot easier for me to attend. But that's just
your personal opinion. Where's the best place to have Worlds, Mike? You're an official OP guy. I'm gonna put you on the hot seat now.
This is personal opinion. Where's your favorite place?
Yeah, no. What's best for business? What's best for business, Mike? If you're in charge, where do you put Worlds?
Okay. Assuming that if I were to be able to have it anywhere in the world, I would probably have it in. To get as many people as possible, I would probably say Vegas, Orlando, Gen Con, or we'll stick with those three for now.
Well, Vegas, I think it's got to be a place where you have an already established play base. Orlando was a great place. It's got a great store. That would be best. My other question, Mike, would be the hot seat. Is organized play doing a good job overall, Mike? Simple question. The last 2-3 years.
Of which I've been in it for less than a year. Okay.
All right. All right. Well, since your time there,
Do I see room for improvement? Absolutely. Do I think it's doing a bad job? No.
I think they're doing a terrible job, but we're not going to get into that now.
Job? No. I'll stick with a C average here.
I don't know. Well, with World's bombs, what does that say? We're dealing with strictly hypothetical now. If Worlds in Australia is a failure, and I say failure if it's 25 or less, or if it's just a couple people travel, and it's just I don't know, Mike. If it's a failure, what do we do? What's the game plan?
We talk about what could have been done differently, or what can be done differently in the future. Whether that means moving it to a different location to take it off of this type of rotation and have bids for it, or whether it's whether it's fixed ahead of time, or what, or even I don't having, or I don't. Yeah, we'd have to look at it. I mean,
I'll settle for if they can just admit if something is a failure. I'll be happy if they just admit it. Phil, we got the Texas Regional. You're going to be flying out here. I know you haven't been playing Trek in a while because you've been waiting for other people to be the ringleader and organize regionals out there that haven't come through. So I don't know. You've been out of the game for a little bit while. What do you think's going to play? What do you think's going to win in Texas? And who do you think's going to win?
I'm going to be overly optimistic and pick myself.
Yay!
And I don't know. I think you'll see a good amount of the new hotness, which is the new Dominion with a little bit of cheese. Maybe even some Cherik Nor. I'm guessing you're probably thinking about playing that Ferengi deck again, just because that's hilariously fun.
It's not fun at all, but it's just.
So I ripped off your version that ripped off my old deck, that ripped off Tyler's old deck. So.
Yeah, they're all the Ferengi decks are. Well, mine was a ripoff of Johannes and other people. Like it's just been all.
We've been ripping off each other for this thing.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with Ferengi. My Ferengi deck had like Hugh and Ferengi computers, and I was trying to do my Ferengi deck was a shit show, but I was just trying to that damn equipment card that lets you put stuff on the bottom, and then Mortis, the gambling device. It was all about the gambling device and Hugh. It was fun, but it was absolutely terrible. You have to play with the past guys. You can't do it without the past guys. They're out.
I think that new Dominion cheese is going to be something that you'll see a couple decks out of. And it's not really cheese. It's just that one card that people are all complaining about, Crippling Strike.
Yeah, I
don't hate it, but I can understand why people are annoyed with it.
I'll go on record too. I told this in the errata meeting. This is my baby. I couldn't. I recused myself from voting on whether it should go on the watch list, but this was my baby in Strange Bedfellows, and this is my gamble. And unlike past mistakes in design, I'll fully follow my sword if this goes boom, it doesn't work out too well. But I think it's fine. There's a lot of ways to get around it. This game needs more event and interrupt prevention anyway. But Phil, you're not going to win the Texas Regional. There's no way that's going to happen.
Wow.
I don't think it's going to be me either. Hopefully, I think Justin.
You're going to get around that interrupt,
I'm going to pray that Justin comes through. We're going to put the belt on the line. It's going to be me, Phil, and Justin playing for the big gold belt. I hope Justin comes through and takes the belt back to Seattle, so I have another reason to go back there and lose a poker tournament. I need another reason. I had fun. I had fun in Seattle, even though it cost me a $480 score. That's it. That's it. That's all we got for the show tonight. I'd like to thank my guests, Michael Van Bremen, Phil Schrader. I'll see you in a week. Like Greasy Ducat, I'm kicking you out of the Discord pile. Good night.